Okay, it's 2:58. In 2 minutes, we'll just get started with our actual discussion. But some of you are already started watching on social media, or those of you who joined on Zoom. So one of the things we pride ourselves on is to starting events on time and finishing on time. Sometimes we start 1 minute early, so that would be a nice part to bear on. So just couple of instructions. So those of you who are on Zoom or watching on social media, if you have any specific questions for any of the speakers, you can ask in the comments. We'll take up those questions in the second half. Also, we will be sharing the LinkedIn thread where all the speakers are tagged. So in case if you want to ask more questions which you are not able to pick up in the session, you can ask those questions over there. And Vaishnavi will be moderating this session. So I'll just do one more line introduction, and then my guest appearance in this session will be over after that. So it's 2:59. It's almost 3 p.m. India time. So welcome again, everyone. I'm Jatin. I'm one of the co-founder of eChai Network. We host startup networking meetups in 25 global cities. Thanks to COVID, now physical meetups are not happening, but online events are happening, which is more exciting because to convince good speakers becomes a little easier. Physically, it will, they have to spend half a day of them. So that's why with this CoRise Summit, we are able to pull off a very good one where we have speakers from all over the world. And it's a sincere and committed effort to bring diverse set of speakers from all over. And we have, if you go to CoRiseSummit.com, you'll be able to get a sense of what we are able to do. This particular session is about product marketing panel. So we have very experts, folks who have scaled up, were part of growth teams or helping growth sales startups with their product marketing. And Vaishnavi, she is with Chargebee. She will be moderating this panel. And thank you so much again, everyone. And Vaishnavi, with this, I hand over the Zoom screen to you, and you take the lead now.
Yeah, thank you, Jatin. Hello all, thank you for joining the product marketing panel today. I have some wonderful ladies with us today who've been breaking the ceiling when it comes to marketing and growth hacking. As much as you are excited, I am too, because I'm sure it's going to be packed with a lot of experiences more than insights. So let's get started. I'm going to let these pretty ladies introduce themselves, give a short brief of where they work and what's their most favorite hobby in the lockdown. So we'll get started with you, Vaijayanthi.
Okay, so yeah, thank you so much for having me. So my name is Vaijayanthi. I'm a product marketing manager at Zoho. I'm sure most of you know what we do, but if you don't, we are a SaaS-based company with 50 plus applications that you can use to run your entire business on, ranging from HR, finance, sales, marketing, and we have over 50 million customers across 180 countries. So I had product marketing efforts for two of Zoho's marketing products. One is Zoho Paid Sales, which is a conversion, optimization, and personalization platform. And the other product is yet to be launched, so I can't really reveal much about it. So yeah, that's about me.
Thank you, Vijay. We are happy to have you here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. Next, we listen to you, Yulia.
Hi, everybody. It's lovely to be here. I'm super excited when I see the speakers that Jatin and eChai community brought. I was like, wow, that's amazing. So briefly about me, my name is Yulia. I'm Russian living in India. That's the way how I present myself in social media. Previously, I used to lead marketing for India for SEMrush. SEMrush is a digital marketing suite which has also over 36 toolkits, which expanded over 180 countries and has more than 10 million users. This year, 2020, I decided to start my own agency, which we call MakeSuccess, and we help international brands to expand to India. And with their go-to-marketing strategies, with their brand marketing strategies, and with event strategies. So that's about me.
Nice, thank you, Yulia. It's very beautiful to listen to your story, and I'm very curious on you breaking the chain and going on to start something new. We'll come back to that in our sessions later. Hi, Kate. I think it's time to hear from you now.
Hello, really lovely to meet you all. Thank you for having me. So I'm CEO and co-founder of a company called GrowthMinds in London. We help scaling businesses with their growth strategies, and that encompasses some sort of product market fit and product marketing positioning, but also marketing execution. We work with businesses kind of from the stages of being about Series A in funding through to going to exit. and help them kind of pivot and evolve their strategies through those stages. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you, Kate. And yeah, Anna, are you ready?
Yeah. Everyone, really great to be here. So about my background, I've been building companies for the last like 10, 11 years. Initially as part of venture builders, and then also starting my own companies. So for the last 5 years, I had a training and consulting company for startups across Southeast Asia, and recently joined hands with a tech consultancy to set up a training arm for them and basically productize all the skills that there are internally.
Right. Great, Anna. Nice to have you with us. And yeah, we're done for our introductions, but moving on to the most serious question that all marketers get faced. So before that, I wanted to tell our audience something. Today we have marketers, wonderful ladies who come from different parts of the world. It's just not India. So I'm sure we're going to be sharing a lot of actionable tactics and strategies that you can implement as well if it makes sense for your business. So let's jump right in. So a common question that all of us get faced, every marketer, every product marketer, growth hacker, how did you find your calling here? Why marketing? Was it an incident? Was it a coincidence? Or is there a beautiful story behind it? We'll get started with who was ready with the answer for the question. Why marketing? How did you end up in marketing?
All right, yeah. I will step a lead here, if you don't mind. Actually, I want to just say hi to all engineers in India, because I know there are so many. I am on your board. I'm also mining engineer, and I did my master also in economics and mining. And because I'm originally from Russia, and in Russia it's a good sector to be. Of course, it's very stable, it's growing, and like my parents thought that it would be the best way to be. But I never want to be. And I start working in the age of 16, 17. I grew from the person who is just a promoter in the malls and just distributing something. And that's the way how I actually started. Then I grow like supervisor, then I grow like a team lead. Then I've been in multiple agencies in the analytics part. And that's where how it went. And I'm literally super happy that in my life, I should not work even single day in mining company. I should not do anything what I've been taught about engineering, oil, gas, and etc. Because I love to meet people. I love to create business development strategies. I love to implement. I'm the person who is just enjoying execution, because it's really amazing. Like, when you send email campaign and afterwards you see the roadmap, or you create any funnel, it's something that excites me so much that sometimes I can't get to sleep. Like in the evening, I can still thinking, then I can just decide, okay, forget it. Let me continue and finish it off. Otherwise, I would not get sleep at all. And I always would promote that marketing is a beautiful, actually, profession, because you can meet people, you can engage with people. It's still a very analytic role where you can just see a bigger picture, where you see how trends are created. So it's a lot of connected to psychology. So that's something which I love, and I'm telling you that I feel that it's like my mission. I will tell more and more people that if you'd like really extrovert, but in the side you also love maths or something like that, marketing is a place where you need to be.
Yulia, that was lovely. I mean, I think you can adopt me. I would love to be your mentee now. It was lovely the way you walked us through what marketing really is. It's about meeting people and perceptions that all of us have, right? That was really lovely. Thank you, Yulia. Who would love to go next?
So I'll go next.
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm an engineering graduate. I won't call myself an engineer because I'm not in that field and never been in that field. So I'm an engineering graduate, and then I did my post-graduation in business administration. So that's when I developed an interest for marketing. So I thrive on creativity like any other marketer. So I always wanted to be on the creative side, and also I wanted to be on a customer-facing role. So I started off in marketing and communications role with an SAP consulting company known as Car Technologies. So there in services industry, you market a product that somebody else has built. And I was always fascinated by software products, and I wanted to work with closely work with a product company. So that is when I made the switch to Zoho. And ironically, I found Zoho, I discovered Zoho through traditional marketing. So one day I was telling my dad that I want to move to, a product company. And he was reading the Hindu paper. And there was an article about Zoho which said, they're moving to Guruanjeri, which is close by. And my dad was like, why don't you apply to this company? So that is when I searched about Zoho. I learned about Zoho and applied for it. So I wouldn't say it was a calling, but then I wanted to be on the creative side, and that's how I ended up being in marketing.
Nice. That's a beautiful story. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Vijay. Kate, I would love to hear your version of how marketing.
Okay, so I kind of ended up in marketing through becoming passionate about entrepreneurship and helping founders figure out, how to go about building their businesses, and looking really at the kind of academic side of growth and what was needed from a framework perspective and from a methodology perspective in order to build really effective companies. And so my background was kind of in the media. I spent 10 years working for large media organizations. And so it was kind of a segue really after kind of having that big business background to kind of work for startups. But I definitely kind of prefer the environment of kind of being entrepreneurial and really kind of being able to learn things really quickly, because in big businesses, often there are kind of cultural barriers to being able to do things fast. Whereas with an early stage business, what you do today, you can see the impact of tomorrow. And yeah, so that's kind of how I ended up where I am.
Thank you, Kate. And Anna, we are finally to you.
I think my story is a bit similar to Kate's. So I also arrived in marketing initially through entrepreneurship itself. It's like what I've always been excited about is just building companies. It's just that excitement of taking something that doesn't exist and actually making it something. And I think within all the things you need to do at the early stage, I think marketing or growth or product marketing, it all kind of goes hand in hand anyway. That's just where you see things happen the fastest. So it's like you do something and then you see the result, and you do something and you see the result. And then also the combination, I really like to work with data, because kind of data shows you if something works or not. But then at the same time, actually being really close to the customers and understanding, what is it they want, how do you actually solve problems for them. For me, that combination of things, it's what makes it so exciting. So I guess you have your data, but you're also close to the customers, and you actually kind of see almost on a daily basis how you build something from nothing.
Yeah, that's so true, Anna. Actually, yeah, that's true. I mean, as a marketer, we constantly have to experiment with things. It could be just this line of messaging that we put out, or a subject line to my email. I'm kind of an opposite here to you, Anna. I'm always worried to go and experiment. I'm like, just make this work in the first time. Why is it not working? Why am I not getting the registrants for the webinar at the first time? But slowly into marketing, I'm learning the reality of it and the reality to constantly experiment. So beautiful versions of how you guys ended up in marketing, which takes me to my next question, interesting question. We all know that product marketing is something that's still not clear. It's still a little ambiguous because different companies have different definitions for product marketing. SaaS companies are doing it in a way, service companies are doing it in a way. But I would love to hear to your versions of what is product marketing, and specifically what is not product marketing. What do people think incorrectly about product marketing? What is it not? And what do you think is product marketing? It's from your optics, your version of
it. I can start.
Yeah,
sure.
So I think for me, product marketing, it's something that's always been done anyway. Now it got a term. It's similar to growth hacking, and then there's growth marketing, and you just kind of those job titles kind of evolve over time. From my understanding or how I normally approach it, it's a very strategic function. So when I talk to people, they're like, oh, so you manage social media or you do SEO. It's like, no, that's not what it is. For me, and I know different people see it differently, but for me personally, how I see it, it's more function that facilitates growth. So you really do do all the foundations. So, you do your customer research, you do your competitor research, you do your product positioning, you do your messaging, like basically anything that makes your own team as well as potential customers, potential users really understand the value that your product brings. And I think it's really important actually that became its own function, because I've seen, like, I've consulted a lot of startups in the past, and very often when you come in, even post Series A, they don't fully understand the customers. They're like, oh yeah, that's kind of our customer segment. It's like, okay, based on what? What did you base it on? Did you actually talk to them? How do you differentiate the messaging between the different customer segments? Or if you introduce, say, new functionalities, how do you actually communicate it to different customer segments? Or do you, want to use new functionalities to address the entire market? What's your strategy in going to market in the first place? I think that's where product marketing plays a really important role, just for the positioning, the messaging, and the segmentation. But then also moving forward, because you're always going to introduce new things, new functionalities, new products. What's actually your playbook to use these new functionalities, or these new introductions to keep either retaining your existing customer base or to keep growing further. I think that's where product marketing is so important, because as it says, it's between product and marketing. So it's like you have to understand the product, and you kind of translate that to all the other functionalities that you have within the company. For me, it's really a little bit in the background maybe. So it's not, actively managing any acquisition channels, for example, but it's empowering the other functionalities, or like providing all the information, all the assets they need, doing the background research to actually make sure that they can drive growth.
Right.
That's just from my perspective. Yeah. That's how we know.
No, I totally agree, Anna. Thank you. Kate, would you want to go next?
No, I think Anna's nailed it, frankly. I don't have a huge amount to add. I think for me, product marketing is gearing the entire organization to deliver what the market requires. And it's about listening and connecting with the market and building the product based on what the market needs, rather than traditional marketing, which is typically taking a thing and selling it to people. So yeah, I mean, what Anna said, +1.
Yeah. Thank you, Kate. Yulia and Vijay?
So yeah, I totally agree with what Anna said. And just to add to that, in my perspective, product marketing is about how you play and, where you play. So the target market and the value proposition of your product that you bring to the table. So that is what is product marketing. And we all know it's an intersection of, product marketing and sales. It's like you're the hub, and all the cross-functional teams are the spokes, and, interacting with them every day, understanding the product, understanding the market, and coming up with a proper positioning and messaging is what product marketing is all about to me.
Thank you, Vijay. Yulia, finally to you.
Yeah, I will completely heads up to all ladies. I completely agree with everything was said. I believe that product marketing is a consistent feedback between the customer or potential customer and the actual product which is you are building. So it's a very interesting role, and it's all about how do you position, how do you analyze, and how do you actually execute. And what is not product marketing from my perspective? It is not what people call digital marketing, because when I say that I am a marketer, I'm a product marketer, they say, oh, you're a digital marketer, you're SEO, or you're PPC expert, or you are SMM. It's not about this. It's just the channels of acquiring the user. It's not that I'm SEO, PPC, and everybody in one. No, it's not about it. It's more about analytic. It's more about receiving feedback. It's more about discovering the market. And it's not that like I just one person who play all kind of acquisition channels. That's what I wanted to add here.
Yeah, brilliant. So I come from this very small town in India. So it's in the southern region of India. So when I tell my relatives or people I know that I am a product marketer, they instantly say, oh, you go from door to door selling your product, is it? That's the kind of thing that they ask me. And I'm like, how do I explain it to you? Yeah. So that's the challenge I face every day. So thank you, ladies. Thank you for your versions of product marketing, because it surely helps everyone to understand what it is. And at the end of the day, it's about customer development, market research, and the consistent feedback that we have so that we can bring it back to the product from the customers. That's lovely. And here I would like to, so let's get into reality of what's happening today. We all know we're in the middle of a pandemic. We are taking a lot of strategies, we are pivoting, all that is happening. So I have a specific question to you, Anna. So Anna, can I go ahead with the question? You head education at Elemental Academy. And now with this pandemic, with Corona taking over the world, especially during this time, e-learning is seeing a boom. E-learning as a business, as a domain is seeing a lot of boom. There are a lot of subscribers adding on to such academies, such e-learning platforms. So how has it been for you? Is there a delta? Do you see a change in terms of growth of Elemental Academy? Were there specific strategies you had to implement after seeing that there's going to be more footfall into your site, there's going to be more subscriptions? I would like to hear your thoughts on that, Anna.
Yeah, so actually we changed our strategy a bit with COVID coming in, because initially the focus, because the whole purpose of the academy itself is to kind of package the skills of the people within the company and create training programs based on that, and then it's a B2B play, so it's selling that to corporates, which that itself there was an uptick. But like as a kind of secondary market, we always had, because we built like this online, like this e-learning platform. So secondary market was always trainers themselves. So if you kind of want to offer the training material that you currently have, you want to bring it online and then distribute it to students, and that actually has seen a way bigger uptick, which kind of makes sense, because like especially like for example in Singapore. Like a lot of people, or like it's very common to do offline training. So yeah, we had a lot of actually a lot of people reaching out just based on that. It's okay, I can't train offline. Like how do you use a platform? How can you onboard me? So we actually had to shift, like also in terms of marketing collateral, for example, to produce, or like in terms of kind of briefing our sales team. It's like, okay, so you kind of have to shift your focus now. Here's what we're doing. If anyone asks ABC, this is the answers. These are the assets that we're using now. So for us, like there was an uptick on both. There was definitely an uptick on like just in general training that is being consumed. But then, as I said, the secondary market initially for us actually kind of overtook the other. So that's what we're focusing on for now. It's probably going to change back in the future, but yeah, for that actually, like it was quite good.
Yeah, but that's actually brilliant, Anna, because you see, we are all marketers and now we are all pandemic marketers. I mean, there's a change happening and we're all okay to adapt and make the change possible. And we know that one day it's all going to be normal and we'll have to go back to square one of our marketing. But it's nice, right? You have the skill set and the adaptability to switch to the situation. That's what I love about marketers in terms of messaging or positioning. I would like to understand from you, Kate and Yulia and Vaijayanthi, about how different had you to go and think about and implement strategies, especially when you saw COVID happening, a lockdown happening, businesses diverting. I mean, your customers as well were diverting, they were making changes. So were there any specific strategies or things that were worrying you that you had to go and implement, especially after COVID, from a marketer's point of view?
I think from our perspective, it was just a matter of trying to keep businesses doing a proper process and not lurching in any direction too quickly. I think people had some instinctive reactions to what was going on and felt that they needed to pivot or do something new or launch a new service and that sort of thing. And I think it was just a matter of keeping people around the product marketing process, and before doing anything too quickly, learning what the market had to say and making sure that there was really a requirement for what they thought they needed to do, rather than just burning capital without there really being that that need. So so from our perspective, we've not changed the way that we do. We're just shouting a bit louder at people to make sure that they're sort of following the same business rigor and doing things the right way.
Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful, Kate. And Yulia or Vijay?
Okay, so from a brand's perspective, as a company, we had, launched a lot of new products and we gave it for free, because as a business, we are built on empathy. And from a product's perspective, we didn't make much of a change. But then I think we changed the way we send emails. We added more empathy, empathetic language in it. And then we didn't really push our products much. And we started focusing on user education more than ever. So we started running webinars to engage with our customers and then, introduce our features to them. And that is what we did after COVID.
No, don't get me started on webinars. I'm like on a webinar right now. A lot of content out there. But yeah, this is the time we all get to sit and we have a few hours dedicated for learning things that we don't know, things that we can invest in. That's true. And Yulia, I think you will have a lot of things to say here, because you are building a digital community and it's the time to get everybody together. So I would love to hear your thoughts there.
I will be slightly silly. My internet was interrupted. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, no, Yulia, so what I was saying is we do have a change happening, and when you are doing this powerful thing of building a digital community from MakeSuccess, you're bringing a lot of us together. Now I think now is the right time to invest in a community. So I'd like to see or hear to your thoughts on how this pandemic has been treating you.
I absolutely agree that it's the right time to start building communities, and it's the right time to scale. What we discussed with Jatin early, that he said that like 2 years, eChai scaled fantastically, right? And this is an opportunity to all communities to scale and go global, because a lot of market leaders in community, in digital agencies, in event agencies are actually right now in a trouble, because they have a lot of costs which they can't cut. Employer salaries, they have something on rent, which they're paying. They have multiple maybe equipment that they also keep on rent, and the meter is going on. But if for the company like mine that started actually exactly in pandemic time, in March, it's a wonderful place to be right now, because I still do not invest much into getting the office or paying in advance to a lot of venues for conducting events together. And I don't have these liabilities. And right now, if before I was thinking that MakeSuccess would be a place just in India, where we will have a lot of events, meetups, and we will build a strong community together. Right now, I see that my opportunities are increasing. Because I got a co-founder from Spain, she's building a Spanish community. I got a co-founder from Russia, she's building Russian community. I have a co-founder in the US, she is building US and bringing US climate. And we are doing such amazing mix when real people can meet other real people. Yes, it's online. You can't really see such kind of magic in terms of exchanging energies. But still, it would be not possible for all of us today to meet if such kind of situation would not arrive. And in general, I'm optimist in my life. And I feel that every crisis is a huge opportunity. And here it's opportunity to go digital and to scale. That's what, and you have to work hard for it. That's what I see in pandemic time for communities.
That's very true, Yulia. That's very true. Especially when we have especially when we have the grounds to scale. But I always feel that working from home, all of us are working from home today. We rely on Slack and Zoom to communicate with our teams. But I always believe that as product marketers and as growth hackers or marketers, we have to learn by osmosis. There are a lot of ideas that pop up, and just by listening to people from my sales team, just by listening to my customers and people from success team or product team, there are a lot of ideas that keep popping up in my mind. They might say something and I might be linking it to some other idea. But a work from home setup like this, where we've all gone digital, is kind of actually crippling that. We don't have that opportunity anymore, not those water cooler conversations that we have. But how are you guys battling that?
May I answer the first? Before my internet interruption would happen again.
No, go ahead,
so I will tell that I work 5 years remotely and only remotely. And I'm such a person who would promote not only marketer as a wonderful profession to be. I would always like put all my hands up and promote remote work everywhere. And when people is telling me, especially when just pandemic started and everything was locked down and people were cribbing and telling that it's a mental stress, I can't handle it sitting at home, it's difficult to handle child and work and everything together. I'm also a mother of 2-year-old child. And I also work remotely. And pandemic was a help for me. I'm a traveler, I'm an extrovert, I need people around, but I hate to go to the office. And the people who was cribbling about remote work, I was thinking, dudes, you are not right. You are cribbling about pandemic. You're cribbling about that your freedom curbed. You can't really go out. You can't choose where you want to work. You maybe because of, for me, it was nothing in terms of schedule, like that timelines and etc. How to balance family life, work life, and etc. But I know for the people, they said that I have to be now at work 24 hours. That's a challenge, yes, that people usually face when they start working remotely. But with the time, I see that we all say that, right? That we are going in kind of new normal life. And I hope that mask would never become new normal. But I truly hope that remote work would be kind of new normal, that everybody can access to any company they desire to work, can experience and work from anywhere where they want. I'm going right to Goa in 2 weeks of time because it's a better place to be right now for my daughter because she likes the sea and it's healthy. If borders would open up, I'm going to Russia to meet my parents in Siberia, but the internet is here and I still can handle clients from the US, from Australia, one is from Madrid, and that's an opportunity of remote work. I live my life and I actually able to work and work productively. Right. So that's something like which I would say that I would promote remote work because I truly believe in it. I live like this 5 years and I would not go to any company. In general, I hope that my company would not fail. It's very young and I should not go back to corporate world. But I hope that I know for sure I would not go to office in any cost. If it would be like some kind of wonderful company with a package of like, I don't know, a lot of zeros behind dollar and some nice figure with some corporate background with everything is included, I would not go. I would not sell my time because I don't want. I want to sell my experience, result. That's what I'm selling. And remote work about result. It's not about time that you spend at work.
Thank you for sharing that perspective, Yulia. So I'm just going to give a heads up for the audience to ask in any questions to our panelists here if they have on marketing, product marketing, growth hacking. I will take your questions up. But Jatin, do you want to take a few questions?
Yeah, so there were some questions on social media videos. So there are a lot of early stage startups, who start a product and they read a lot about playbooks from different companies about how they go about startup. So as an early stage startup founders, what do you recommend? What should be the approach?
Okay, I'll have a go. Yeah. So I'll assume that they haven't kind of already done sort of any go-to-market stuff, and I would suggest that they start off by making sure that they've got their product market fit correct, and not to rush that process. I think one of the dysfunctions that we see with a lot of early stage businesses is trying to scale too quickly and try to put in money to marketing before actually they've got a really strong product market fit. So go and talk to your target audience, find out what their bleeding pain points are, and then figure out what they're trying to do to fix them and build something that helps them get that job done. and then, you know, start from there, I think. And then only when you've got that and you've sold it a few times, then think about scaling. But don't rush the process, because you'll just end up burning your money in doing so.
Correct. Vaishnavi, Vanchika has asked, probably you can read out that question. And Yulia, you wanted to respond to that. And then once Yulia, you respond that, and then Vaishnavi, you can read out Vanchika's question. Yes,
Yeah.
Yulia. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Sorry. So I completely agree with product market fit is something which you need to start. And as well, you have to start with competitor search. And just so many tools. Of course, I would mention SEMrush, because I'm completely SEMrush person. That like traffic resource analytics and similar web and other companies are providing you all inputs from where your competitors are receiving traffic, how does it convert, even you can find multiple tools to use. So check out how other companies are doing that. And my experience says that if you're building something very unique, for example, people would say that I'm an early stage startup and I don't have competitors. I would be on a very kind of, stress mode, because I believe that if you're building something very unique and nobody before or with you came with such idea, you have to check very well. Is it really kind of problems that you are solving, or just problem in your mind? So I suggest to start with competitive research and then to see product market fit. And I would also take an SEMrush experience here, that it's extremely important to do regional marketing, because each and every region is very different. And to identify maybe the first market, the priority market for you, where you see potential lot of customers. It could be US, it could be India, it could be any market which you want to target. And try and test everything there. And after it, just specialize, identify, and take more like cultural specialities of a particular country or region, and then just expand. That's what would be my suggestion.
Awesome. Yes, Vaishnavi, you can read out Vanchika's question.
Yeah, so there's a question from our audience, Vanchika.
Could I add one thing to the
Yes,
prior question? I think, like, especially in the very, very early stage, I think even on the way to product market fit, completely agree, like before you have that, nothing else matters anyway. But I think what's super important is to have a consistent feedback loop with your customers. Like the first, the second, the third, it doesn't matter. Even if you only have 5, you need to talk to those 5 people. And it takes a lot of time. It's not always fun because they don't always love you in the beginning. But I think that's really something that just needs to become a habit. Like if you're the founder, if you're the marketer, if you're support, whoever it is, but having this consistent feedback loop. And what worked quite well for us in the past is to kind of put the early adopters, for example, into Facebook communities, like building Facebook groups specifically for them, where they can ask questions, where you can ask them questions, do polls. Also just, direct outreach, also making sure you actually collect all the feedback you get from different channels. So you have to have a look at what are people saying on social media, what are people, maybe they're emailing you, maybe it's through customer support, like also making sure to actually collect all these data points to be able to make an informed decision and to actually understand what do they like, what don't they like, how can we be better in terms of product or in terms of messaging. I think especially in the early stage, to have a strong foundation, that is really crucial.
Yeah, thank you, Anna. So I do have a next question from Vanchika. I'll read out the question to you guys. How do you decompress and simplify product features for your audience when marketing a very complex product?
It's difficult. That's a very good question. To be honest, one of the companies I consulted in the past, it was like a very, very new product. There was like, I mean, I know we always say there's always a competitor, but they really were the first to market. And it was very, very difficult to communicate that to people. It's like, this is how it actually works. And they're like, what? I think the easiest way, or when it started to work for us, was like, don't think about your features, don't think about complexity, think about the value that you're creating. So you may have the most complicated technology, your consumers or your clients, customers, whatever, they don't care about that. They care about how it makes your life easier. And that's the thing you have to communicate. So even if you have like 100 features and it's super complex, don't say, oh, you know, this feature is great and this feature is great and you need this and that. It's like, you take it from basically the opposite perspective. It's like, if I use your product, this is how it improves my life. I know it's easier said than done. It's definitely difficult, but I think that's really the kind of approach you need to take with this. It's not the complexity of features, it's the value that you create.
Yeah,
I love it, Dana.
I agree with her. So talk more about your benefits and not features. So tell people how that feature will help them. It can be, it can save their time, or is it going to improve them grow, or is it going to improve their revenue? So tell them what it can do and how they can benefit from that feature. And one thing that I personally follow is I write like I talk. So it's more of a conversational tone in all my, positioning and messaging. And you can also try this. There's a concept that, explain something to a 5-year-old. It has to be that simple. And I also, follow the exact opposite. I also tell my dad what the product is about, and I'll see if he understands it. And then I incorporate that into my messaging.
Nice. That's very nice, Vijay. I hope we answered Vanshika's question. Moving on to the next interesting question that Bhavin has for you guys. As product marketers, what are your best tips for customer interviews?
Probably that is about product manager. So Bhavin, immediately after this, I'll just plug in my next session. At 4 p.m., we have a session on product management lesson. So probably we'll take up this particular question at 4 p.m. Vaishnavi, we can move to another question of Bhavin about pricing.
Yeah, so there's a question again about pricing. So pricing, Bhavin says that pricing is a very crucial aspect for any startups, especially a subscription-based startup. What are your tips for pricing decisions? Yulia, would you like to go first?
It's a very interesting question, especially to the product marketers. That's what I can start with. So the question is not here to founders. Because as a marketer, I can tell exactly about ROI and how much the cost of the marketing particular product, and that should be involved to the cost. But I strongly believe that people buy the product not because how much it costs or not cost. And for example, when I say to the companies that I will help you to expand to India, it's not a secret that India is not the country where people pay easily. It's a very price conscious country. And sometimes the product can cost a lot. But the thing which I learned and I want to pass here, that it's more about value which you're giving. If you're giving a great value and solving a really true problem of a company, of business, believe me, people would pay. But to start for early stage companies, what I would suggest, just analyze how much competitors charge. So you should not be below or very above. And secondly, of course, calculate your cost. Ask your marketer, what is the cost of acquisition, your user, how much actually each user cost, added from marketing perspective, from, sales perspective, from all kind of salaries which you pay, rent, and etc. And add some profit margin. So that's how you can go. It's just, I never build a product, but that's something which I would reply just thinking from my logic. That's how would I calculate. That's
very true. And yeah, Yulia, I've had many fellow marketers, friends, being very scared of introducing in India because they have this belief that if I have to sell a product, if I have to market a product, the language I'm going to use is very difficult in India, or they think the evaluation or the purchase journey is very difficult. They have to convince a lot of people. But what do you think is important when you are a marketer, when you're trying to sell a product inside India, especially when it's a subscription-based product?
That's a wonderful question. That's something, again, which I say everywhere openly, that India is a wonderful market with a lot of money, and people are ready to pay here in respect how much you would charge. It's again about the value which you're offering, and be ready to negotiate. That's something which you have to keep in mind, and go very local. India runs by communities, and that's historically has come. You correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm married to Indian, he's Sindhi. You are from north part, I don't know, you might be, I don't know, what is, like, you all differentiate yourself. Some is Punjabi, some is Tamil, some is Kerala, some is Goan. So you differentiate by communities, right? And India run by communities. If you sell marketing product as SMRH, like subscription based, speak to all communities and become with them friends, become with them like a family member. Make sure that community is welcoming you as a family member. And believe me, through influencer marketing, through community marketing, India can buy anything which has sense, which has value in any cost. But it's very specific country, that's true. And a lot of global companies are afraid to go there. But a lot of companies willing to go here because of population, because of the capacity of buying, right? So a few things needs to be keep in mind. That's go local. India runs on communities, and influencer marketing is something which is think about with influencers as affiliate part, because everybody should be beneficial, build win-to-win, be honest to the people, and deliver great value, and everything could work.
Thank you. Thanks, Yulia. Kate, I have a very interesting question for you from Devang Modi. I'll read out the question for you. How should one go about marketing their services in uncharted geographies in the current scenario when travel is completely off the block?
Okay. So I think the first thing is about learning about the target market that you're trying to go to and not making too many assumptions. Like listening to everything that Julia is saying about marketing in India, I don't know that stuff because I don't have those experiences. And I think if somebody would just kind of blindly go in and try doing stuff, it would, they wouldn't seem like they knew what they were doing and it wouldn't work. So I think, firstly, don't assume and put that target market down. And also, don't waste your energy. So learn about where you're trying to go, and then look at where your target audience is. Julia mentioned communities. There are often different social media channels. So find where the people are that you're looking to target, and then consider the language that will work best for them in the markets that you're going for. So really, personalization is really critical, I'd say, and content. If you can't see people face to face, then telling the story well through content is going to be really important. So you need to make a lot of it, I guess.
Yeah. Thanks, Kate. Vaijayanthi, I have a very specific question for you. So since we've been talking about how customer interviews are important, how customer development is important, so you had marketing for 2 different products at Zoho, one being the optimization platform. And you have you are targeting a very niche set of audience. It could be CROs, it could be marketers who are worried about their websites, who are worried about constantly experimenting what goes on. So how did you arrive at this particular customer segment, this particular buyer segment that you wanted to focus? What was your customer development journey like, your ICP journey like?
That's a very interesting question, and a lot of marketers inside Zoho ask me this as well. So the way I look at it, ICPs keep evolving. So that is what I believe. So when I started off with PaidSense, I researched a lot about our competitors because our product was not a market first product. So we already had competitors. And I researched a lot about the kind of people who use our competitor products. I read reviews on G2 Crowd, Captera, and other publicly available information. So that is how I knew this is the market for the product. And then would you believe that I actually know the names of the first 100 customers? So I researched a lot about it. I read about what market they are in and what kind of people subscribe to our product. And one advantage was that our product manager was from Zarget, a competitor product, which is now Fresh Marketer, part of Fresh Marketer. So he kind of knew the market, and that helped me a lot. And when I started, I used to shadow a lot of sales calls as well. So my sales manager was from Freshworks. So that kind of helped me because I exactly knew what problems my target market was facing and the way that we were solving it. So I think that helped me get started. And I would also read a lot of support emails. So that is how I start my day. I would read support emails. And two types of customers that I particularly look into are, people who come from a competitive products. If when people switch from other products, it involves a lot of switching cost and search cost. So if they are doing that and coming to your product, it means you have something that your competitors don't have. So that is one type of customers that I look into. And the next one is customers who cancel your product. So there must be a specific reason why they cancel your product. So that will help you understand what problems you solve and problems that you don't solve. And that has also helped us, improve the product capabilities as well. So that is how I went about it. So a lot of research, competitor analysis, and, shadowing people in the team.
I remember my old days in this company called Chargebee. So I work for a SaaS company called Chargebee. And my very first month, so I switched from Zoho to this company. Both of these companies are in Chennai. And the very first month at Chargebee, my boss was like, he made me do these customer calls every day. I had to listen to one sales conversation every day. This could be a deal that we won or a deal that we lost. And this happened for 2 months. And I had no idea. I was so dumb that I didn't even know why I was doing this. And the third month, we sit and put down our value prop. We sit down and put the jobs to be done framework. And we have not gone back to it since. It's been 2 years since we did that, and I've not gone back to it. So it's just a reference repository that all of us use at Chargebee. But today I understand the value of those experiments and activities that we do. So kind of made me think about all those olden days. So guys, we're actually...
I'd like to add to the pricing question.
Vijay, so we are running. Vijay, we are running out of time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
okay, then
I'm so sorry to interrupt you here.
No
but
problem.
guys, ladies, it's been very beautiful. I'm just going to end with a very last question from me. Today, there are a lot of marketers, and they are all pursuing their dream or ambition in marketing with so much hope. So what's that one piece of very short advice you're going to give to them? I have exactly 4 minutes, and Jatin is going to come pull my mic off. So one line or advice that you would give to all marketers out there in the world. We'll start with Yulia.
Thanks. I will suggest the only one thing. Whatever you do, put all efforts which you can. Put your soul, mind, your analytics, everything what you can, and do it properly. Do with passion and do with love. I think it's reflect on results somehow.
Thanks, Yulia. And Kate, you?
Okay, so I'd say measure everything you do in order to be able to learn, but don't rush the learning through measurement. Give everything enough time so you've got enough data to be able to take accurate decisions.
Lovely, thanks, Yulia. Anna, you?
I'd say experiment. Everything keeps changing. It's like just get your hands on things and try them out. That's for me. I think that's the only way to learn. Really, it's like you have to do it yourself.
Beautiful, beautiful. And Vijay, you?
As marketers, we all go behind, shiny objects just like cats. So we have this shiny object syndrome. So don't just blindly follow all the trends. See what will work for your product, and then the brand value. Consider all that, and then work towards it.
Brilliant, brilliant. It's been wonderful catching up with you, ladies. And all the people who've been attending this, I think Jatin has dropped in the LinkedIn and Twitter profile. So please do connect and bombard them with questions, because they have all the energy to answer all your questions. And thank you so much, ladies. And thank you, Jatin.
Vaishnavi, last point I wanted to add. So typically the question that Vaishnavi asked, I wanted to end with that kind of a question, but I'll just move to the other question now. So in marketing growth, there are a lot of things we end up doing: creative thinking, content writing, reaching out to people. So if you were to have one superpower, what would that be? So we will end this call. So the moment last speaker ends the sentence, I'll end the call. So we'll end this call on a high. So Vaishnavi, since you asked a lot of questions, what is one superpower that you would like to?
Superpower, I would love to read my customers' minds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so the good thing is that no repeat answer. So this this has been taken. Vaishnavi, you've been assigned this superpower now. Vaijayanthi?
So it's copywriting for me.
Wow. Anna?
Unfortunately, I was going to say the same, so I'm going to go for storytelling.
Wow. Yes, Kate.
Okay, I'm really stuck now because I was going to go for that as well. So I'll go for, if I had a superpower, I would go for making a market bigger.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Before Yulia finishes, because else nobody will pay attention to my announcements. At 4 p.m., we have product management. So speakers are already here. So we'll begin that at 4. And there are a lot of other interesting sessions lined up. So do join in and do help spread the word. Yulia, what is that? The moment you end your sentence, I'll close the call.
Okay. So actually you took all my superpowers one by one, which I had in mind. So mine would be to see the future, to predict what's coming up.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, and see you.